All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Sunday Night Charts with Jim of All Trades. Good to see you. Hope you're well. My name's Jim. I'm a crypto trader and a Forex trader here to help you understand the market from an Elliott wave theory perspective. Guys, we're going to look at the wave structure tonight. Going to be a very quick live tonight. Going to keep it to 30 minutes tonight. So I'm going to try to get you the information as quickly as possible. We've got to dispense with a lot of the normal hellos and whatever. So you guys say hi. I will say hello back as I can. But we're going to jump into the analysis. Don't forget, I'm not a financial advisor. Just looking at the market from a wave structure standpoint with you tonight. So that's what my channel is all about. We look at wave structure. It's not the only thing we do in trading. There's lots more to trading, guys. There is so much more than knowing the waves. But the waves, studying the waves do help us kind of understand where price might go and why it might go there. We look at that and correlate that with geopolitical things going on, as well as just the landscape of the economy and how things are playing out. We try to put all that together, piece it together, and see where the market might be going. All right, so that's what we're going to do tonight as quickly as possible. If you want a really, really detailed view of my kind of geopolitical understanding, a summary of what's going on, last week's live stream was fire. It was from my perspective, the most important things, some of the most important things I could share with you. Okay, so if you didn't catch last week's live stream, definitely watch it. You can watch it on 2x or 1.5 speed or whatever, but definitely watch the first hour of the analysis for sure, because I really just help you understand what's happening, what times we're living in, and what's coming to our markets, because I believe a major crash is inbound. And I explain why and what that might look like and how crypto might be involved in that crash. So with that said, let's look at Bitcoin. We're going to exclusively look at Bitcoin right now, for the next 15 minutes or so. Just kind of look at the wave structure, talk about what might be happening in this wave structure, where it might be going, and then we will go from there. All right. And so hello to everybody. Hello, Keith. Good to see you, buddy. Hey, Danton, how are you? Happy Easter to you as well. I'm glad you guys are here. All right, let's jump in. So Bitcoin, what is this wave structure? Well, let's zoom out here to the weekly chart here. Actually, yeah, okay, 3-day chart might be a little bit better. From my perspective, just looking at this wave structure, I look at this particular wave and say that is as wave-ish as you can get. Okay, that is it's almost too pretty. It's a pretty 5-wave structure. You had one right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 right there. And if you zoomed into this, you would see 5 waves there. So you got 5 there, 5 there, 5 there. It's what we call it's in the structure where the wave 2, 4 are in the middle there, and 4 overlapped the 1. So this is what we call, in the Elliott wave structure world, a leading diagonal. It is a very bullish structure, no doubt about it. It's designed to create confusion into what the market is doing. But there's five waves to the upside. What I'm personally seeing now is that we're in the beginning stages. This is my main count. We're in the beginning stages of a large, protracted W, X, Y, back down to $20,000. Okay, could go deeper than that, but I think 20,000 is a really, really nice number. 23K in that range, anywhere from 23 to 40. It's really nice, but if it wants to go deeper than that, it certainly can. I just think it might be healthy if that area finds some support in that zone. And that would be in the grand scheme of things, that would be a super, super nice 3-wave correction of an initial stage of Bitcoin, where you have its initial stages, and now we just need a correction where all we've been pretty much doing is pushing up, and now there just needs to be a sell-off here, Okay, that's going to take multiple years. I'm talking 3 to 4 years for that to take place. This is 3 to 4 years of price action. That's the way I'm seeing that wave. Just in summary, that's all I'm talking about. So I think we're in the beginning stages of this first W wave. Okay, so what we're trying to do, what we've been trying to do, is offer some ideas as to what shape this wave might take based on what's happened. And I've got a couple of good ideas. And we're going to talk about that. So that's the that's my overarching macro view of Bitcoin for now, that we're actually in a 3-wave correction. So we're going to get a push down in 3 waves. And we're going to talk about what this wave is going to look like in just a moment, okay? But we're going to get a push for the next couple of years to the downside. That's going to have pumps followed by dumps, okay? And that's going to take a good 2 years or so to play out this price action. Okay, then it's going to have a protracted correction back to the upside where everybody gets a little bit more bullish. So there can be another round of selling off again. Okay, that's an ideal scenario. Okay, now this middle wave may not be as slow as I've got drawn it. In fact, they may drag it out quite a bit. It may look something more like this, and then you get another protracted move to the downside, finding support somewhere around the 786. I like the 786, $23,000. I really like that zone. Okay, but I do not discount the idea that Bitcoin could fall below that. Now, that's if this is correct. Okay, now this may not be correct. There are other ways to look at the market. I really went into that last week. A lot of the different scenarios. We looked at the bullish scenarios as well. Just quickly to outline the bullish scenario, that one of the major bullish scenarios is that this right here is some kind of wave 4 of this wave. So this is looking like 1, 2, all of that's wave 3. This is more like a wave 4, and we need a finishing wave, a 5th wave. Now, I believe we've already had it. This was the finishing wave. That's my belief. It finished us off at 110K, and now we're in the beginning stages of a 3-wave move to the downside. That's what I think, but what I think doesn't matter, right? It's just what I think matters. But as far as the market can do whatever it wants to do, it doesn't have to do that. This analysis is based on my interpretation of the waves that I'm seeing. Part of Elliott wave theory is that the waves are subject to interpretation, and so what we're trying to do is interpret the waves in light of geopolitical landscape as well as common movements of the market, the way market makers move for liquidity sake. Okay, and so in other words, they have to take it down in such a way that you still believe that it's going up, so that there are buyers. In other words, the market has to move down in such a way, okay, that buyers remain in as long as possible, so that the big boys who are selling have the opportunity to sell to all the late buyers who are FOMOing in, who are really moon boys and who just think that the market only goes up. And so that's the mentality of moon boy traders, is that you only think it goes up. It's only ever going up. You rationalize everything to the upside. And, you always have a narrative to support your upside and reasoning to support your upside. And that's fine and dandy. It's okay to be a moon boy as long as you can turn the switch and become a bear boy as well when it's time to become a bear boy. Right now, the market is in flux between bullish and bearish sentiment. It literally is in flux. In other words, the moon boys look at the chart and are hopeful because this market looks like, hey, got a 3-wave correction. We should start seeing rallying back to the upside any time now. So the moon boys are waiting for that breakout. And you get a wave like you just got in the last 30 minutes or the last last hour or so on Bitcoin. You're like, oh, here it is. Here's the breakout. Certainly could be. We're going to look at that wave here shortly. But that being said, you can't let your bias, whether you're bullish or bearish in your bias, you can't let that affect your neutrality as you interpret the waves. You have to interpret the waves in light of both positions. In other words, I have a particular sentiment. I'm biased to the downside. But I can't allow that bias to affect my interpretation of the waves. I have to let the waves speak for themselves. And so what I do in order to protect myself from my own bias is that I look at the waves from my bias, and I say, yes, I see that. I see how the waves could be interpreted to the downside. And then I turn around and make myself look at the waves from the upside so that I can understand and see how the wave might be interpreted opposite of my bias, because sometimes I get blinders on and I can only see one direction. If I'm not disciplined enough to make myself look at the opposite direction, I won't do it. And if I don't do that, I can get caught with my pants down in the market, just assuming that my analysis and my bias is correct. At the end of the day, what makes us good traders is being ready to be wrong. Let me ask you a question, are you ready to be wrong? That's a really good principle in all of life. Those of you who, for instance, I won't go into that, I suppose, but I guess what I'm saying is, at all stages of your life, are you ready to be wrong? What if what you believe is incorrect? Okay, what are you going to do? What are the implications of you being incorrect? What do you stand to lose? What do you stand to gain? Okay, so those are really important things to consider as you think about trading. Okay, so this is my first interpretation of the market. It's my primary interpretation. It's the one, as I've looked at all the options, this is the one that I kind of gravitate to, whether I'm wrong or right. Okay, what are some other counts here that we can talk about as far as what Bitcoin could be doing? Well, again, this could be some kind of wave 4, in which case, we're ready for a potential pump to the upside. We're going to look at that potentiality as we move into the small time frame analysis. We're going to look at that possibly here shortly. Jumping out at me on the 3-day chart, which we are on, is the hidden bullish divergence that I'm seeing right here. The only problem is that we haven't really dipped into an oversold area that I would really like to see happen first before we get a massive pump again. That would be nice. Don't have to happen, but there is hidden bullishness here. It's hidden bull, but it's on the 3-day. That means the 3-day could take weeks to develop. That in other words, you could still see the RSI come down and make another low here. If price came down here, RSI could come down, and you would then have stronger hidden bullishness. But that's the point on the 3-day chart, that even though the hidden bull is there, it doesn't mean that it has to go down, and that hidden bullishness can't be taken out. We don't ignore it, but on the 3-day chart, it's not super helpful, okay, until structure is broken. Okay, now we are threatening on the RSI to break that structure, but again, this is the first break. A lot of times you'll get a preliminary break and then a lower low. Case in point, right there, you got this little break right here, and then you got a lower low. So yeah, you got to watch out for that. So we could totally get a lower low here in the RSI. Which price would come down, lower, take different. We can talk about the shapes of how that could look, but the point is that could totally happen. So, all right, so let's look. But this is potentially breaking to the upside here. So there is some bullishness right now. We can't ignore it. Can't say no. We can't allow bearishness to negate a bullish move. We have to be ready for both. Okay. All right. So with that said, the bullish count here is that this is some kind of a wave 4. We're looking for this to start moving to the upside. 145K is my target zone if we get kind of a straight up wave that starts to move kind of like that wave did. If it starts, and more than likely it's going to go up faster than that wave. In other words, we're going to see it take on some speed if we get a bullish move like that. Could that be happening? Could we be going up to 145K? It's possible. Now, the other scenario, as the title of the video suggests, is that we could be on our way up to 102K. I really like the 102 level. Let me explain why I like the 102 level, and we'll talk about the possibilities of us going there. Okay, the 102 level, and this is another bullish count. It's bullish temporarily, right? But if you'll notice, 102 is the 786 retrace of this move from the top. Okay, so the 786. Let me pull it down to here. There we go. Brings us to about 102. 100,000. Yeah, 102 is, my eyes are so bad. Yeah, it's 102,000. So that's the 786, and that also takes out the liquidity right above this little zone right here, which has not been taken out since we created this little zone. That liquidity has not been taken. So that's a lovely zone for price to come back up to. Okay. Could we be on our way from here, from this moment, working our way up in a wave up to that area? It's possible, but I really don't like the wave structure. I have another idea for you that's a bit more bearish that I like it, and I think it would be a little trashy. It'd be kind of a trashy move for the market makers to do. Excuse me. But let's talk about it. All right. Let me just pause here and just kind of recap what I've just done. What I've done is giving you my macro view of Bitcoin. I've shared my thoughts and ideas there as far as the macro, where we could be going. Now, I gave my major reasoning why I think we're actually prepping for a major tank of the market last week. And so definitely watch last week's live stream if you didn't catch it. So just to give you an update now on the small time frame moving forward, let's talk about this current wave, what it could be, and what this move tonight means in light of the wave structure. Okay. Now, when I look at this wave structure, I'm ignoring the chat, and I'm sorry about that. If anybody's chat, the chat's kind of low tonight. So, what's up, Eddie Bo? Good to see you, buddy. And Salvador, what's up, man? I see you. All right. So, moving back into the analysis here, the things that jump out at me as far as wave structure are concerned here is this three-wave move right here. Okay. When I look at this wave here, okay, I kind of look at that as 5 waves. Okay, I kind of look at that as a 1. And let's try it again. You see this wave right here? Right there. See that wave right there? Okay. So we're going to call that a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kind of a leading diagonal or ending diag. It's either leading or ending, right? Now, the other way to look at that is 3 waves, where you just kind of it kind of gives a 3-wave shape, where this is a leading diag, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe it's some kind of a weird correction, and then you got another 5-wave move, so it becomes a 5, 3, 5. Okay, looking at that wave, so hard to tell exactly what that is. Then So the way I've been looking at this as a finished structure to here, to this point, okay? So that this could be 3 waves there, okay? And that's a finished structure right here. The reason I don't believe this was the finish or this was the finish is because all of this right here has been 3-wave-ish up to this point. In other words, this still looks corrective. Everything's 3 waves. All right. We have 3 waves down, took that low. That means this was actually 3 waves right there. So that was 3. This is 3. This is 3. It's a W, X, and a Y. That's 3. This is 3 here. Now what's happening right now is that this is the first time the price action has given any kind of not 3-ish. In other words, this looks very 5 wave-ish right there. That looks like 5 waves. Okay? This right here looks like a flat 3 waves. Now the problem is this price action right here was super trashy. Oh man, was that ever trashy last week. Some of the trashiest waves I've ever seen. I mean, just nasty trash. A week of just complete sideways. And I knew today was going to be kind of a breakout day where it was probably going to break to the upside. In fact, last night, to be honest with you, I thought that this could probably break out from here to the upside. I would have preferred that. This move right here was kind of a trashy move prior to that move, for sure. So we understand what trash is. We see it all the time. But the question is, okay, what is this? What is going on here? Well, let me tell you something. It doesn't give me the impression of strong bullishness. This very much looks corrective in nature. So one of the ways I'm looking at this is like, am I looking at a flat here? In other words, is this a fake out? See how oversold or overbought we are? We're really overbought. We need at least a correction back down to the breakout before a pump again. That would be ideal if it's going to pump. But because we're so overbought here, let me look at the hourly. You can see on the hourly chart we're really overbought as well. On the hourly, it's almost like they created this little area right here of liquidity, and that they're just taking it out. I bet you money they bring it down here to take out this area of liquidity because they haven't touched it. They haven't touched the liquidity down here. Bunch of people looking for long in this direction here, and all this money of stops has not been touched. And that's unlike market makers. Market makers usually like to go hit those areas before movement. So I'm wondering if this is 3 and this is 3 right there, and they're going to hit 5 down before it pumps, if there's going to be a pump. So my bullish scenario kind of in an ideal world has us coming down here, taking this area out, getting to the 50% retrace of that move somewhere in this area right there, and then going back to the upside. That would be something. Okay, that would be a possibility. Now, I don't know if that's going to play. I'm not here to say that is going to happen. I'm simply saying that's a possibility I'm looking out for. Excuse me. My throat is super dry. What else could this wave be? Well, another thing it could be, all right, is this could be part of a flat. Okay, now there's 2 ways I see this flat. We'll talk about this wave structure. I'll be honest with you, this is very, very challenging waves. Okay, but this could be A, this could be B, and we could have C. And this is just a stop hunt. We have some kind of a triangle. This is a stop hunt 5th wave of a flat, maybe, where you got a 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of. Let me take you back to this wave. See this wave right here? See that wave right there? We're kind of getting a similar something going on right here. A running flat. Now it would be kind of a nasty move, and I see it as a possibility where you'd have a W wave here. This becomes an X, and then you get a Y to come down here to 68K. Okay. And what that would be, I see that as a possibility here of a part of a larger flat. Okay, that would come down here, take this liquidity zone down here, dump, 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 dump. Okay, now it would dump in 3 waves. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it would go down in 3 waves, and then it would shoot up, take the liquidity out here at 102, and that would be part of a larger 3-wave move. And then we have some perspective here. This becomes a W wave. This becomes an X wave, and then we look for a Y wave on the macro. Okay, to zoom out to show you on the 3-day what that would look like. There it is. That's what it would kind of appear like, 3 waves to the downside, coming down to an area of support right here, about 40 to 50K range. Okay, 53K range, something like that. Find some support there, and then maybe give a 3-wave move back, get everybody bullish again, and then come down for 3 more waves. And so what I think, so that's how that wave acts within the perspective of that larger, move that I've started the live stream out with. That's my ultimate perspective. I think that's likely. Now, I don't know if that's playing or not. I'm not here to say with any definitive nature. It's certainly an idea. And so that's what we do as Elliott Wave traders. We offer wave structure analysis ideas. So that's an idea to understand and interpret this, that we interpret this wave as a flat. I'll be honest with you, it's getting, if this doesn't break to the downside, it's hard to interpret that as 5 waves. In fact, we had a very 5-wave looking thing right here where we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had what looked like a diagonal. And so that looked finished there. All right, what else could this wave be? Well, we might be working our way up to 102K here. Okay, so in other words, this is part of a C wave of a larger move where you had, this is A, all of this is B, and now we're getting C. And C would take us up here to 102K. All right, so that's a real possibility as well. And I like that. Again, it could go anywhere. It doesn't have to go to 102. The 102 is the 786 retrace of this move to the from the top. So I just like that level because it correlates with taking out the liquidity of this little liquidity zone here. So I would love to see this maybe start to take out this level up here. So that's another possibility where this could be a leading diagonal wave 1, and this is a wave 2. And now we're actually getting ready. We need a little bit of a pullback, but we're getting ready to start going with speed to the upside to reach our target. And it's going to happen with some relative speed. When I say relative speed, over the next 2 to 3 days, well, let's say 2 to 7 days, over the next week, we find us hitting targets up here. It would take a while. It would impulse up here, correction, impulse. So yeah, that's certainly in the realm of possible that we're coming up to this area. And so definitely want to watch and see how this wave develops. I would definitely be looking for a long, okay? If you get a 3-wave retrace, especially if you got a 3-wave, okay, number one, assuming you haven't taken a long, already you're not in a long position and you're looking for an entry, a wave structure idea says, hey, you get a 3-wave pullback, and a break to the upside, you give a long a try. You can try a long. It doesn't mean it's going to go up here, but certainly worth a try. I say another concept is that if this breaks to the downside here, like I shared, and this becomes a flat, I think it's a really good idea to consider taking a a long off of that flat for a move. Now, again, if you trade small movements of the market rather than trying to hit these big movements of the market, then there are all kinds of longs and shorts that can be taken within this environment. You don't have to get biased one side or the other. You can just take longs and shorts as the market gives them to you. Okay, I actually was looking. I didn't trade today. It was Easter. I decided to I actually left my phone home today, and I did not do any trading. And I just kind of stayed off the phone today. I'm not in the least bit upset that I missed this move, though I was looking for a long. I tried a long here in this area last night, but it broke down and took my stop out. Once it broke to the downside, it took my stop out right here on the break of that structure. And so I decided to get out and not worry about that long. It was a stop hunt, and then it continued. So it would have paid me out had I held it or whatever. But I just decided I didn't want to trade in this time period. And that's fine with me. But with that said, if you want an entry into this wave, this is the worst time in the world to enter a wave long. That doesn't mean it can't pump, right? It can, but the better thing to do is to wait on the hourly chart to see a pullback on the hourly chart. Okay? If you want to see a pullback and what pullbacks look like, there's a pullback wave. There's a pullback wave. This was a big pullback wave. Okay? But you get a pullback wave with a break back to the upside. This is the area you should have been longing in this zone to take that trade. Okay, so you need a pullback wave. You need a wave. Be patient and let that pullback come. And then you have an area that you can, go long on if you want to give it a try. All right. So that's just some trading advice for you as far as how to deal with this. But I would certainly be interested in any kind of three-wave pullback that I can see on the chart that allows me to enter this wave. Now, could this wave go more quickly than I'm anticipating, and just kind of shoot up to these zones in the next day or two? Yes, that is real possible. Okay. So understand that is possible. I don't know how likely it is, but that is possible that we get a fast wave up. We get waves like that out of the blue all the time. And they're liquidity grabs for sure. They come out of the blue when people aren't, and one of the things I said in the title is that, a big move in Bitcoin is coming. Why? Well, when they do this sideways crap like this, right? When they just go sideways like that, that's when you know that something is ramping up for something big. It's just hard to you got to be ready for either direction, and you have to be ready for shenanigans as well. So yeah. All right, I'm kind of all over the place in my thoughts right now, so I'm sorry about that. All right, let's zoom back out just to offer some more ideas as how to interpret this. I think, just summarizing here, I think we have a tale of two counts here, pretty much. One summary statement says, hey, we still need to go hit 68K. We need to finish this wave structure. It is not finished. That we're gonna. This is maybe three waves. We're gonna get three more down, and that's a WXY, and this is gonna come down in three waves. Okay. So I think it's a real possibility, and I think you should consider that and be ready for 68K range, and then watch out for a V-shaped recovery that comes all the way up to 102. So there's one scenario. Another scenario says, hey, listen, we're getting that three-wave move now. We're not going to go down and hit 68. We don't need to. We're already in that C wave up to 102. All right, that's a possibility as well. The final possibility here, well, it's not the only other possibility, but the last one that's just kind of low-hanging fruit as I look at the chart and say, okay, what could be happening here, is that this indeed could be an extended fifth wave where you actually have a wave a wave 1, 2, and we're maybe in the third wave, 3, 4, and we're about to get some kind of a fast move to the upside. That's actually going to go very quickly over the next couple of weeks, over the next month maybe, to 145, 150K range. Okay, and that's going to be our fifth wave, and that this is actually a 1, 2 of that. I doubt that that's the count, and the reason I doubt it is because of this wave structure right here. It doesn't look. I mean, it totally could go up and do that, I suppose. I mean, there's nothing to say it can't. But this wave structure very much looks corrective, and this very much looks part of this structure. So I like. I'm more inclined to this coming up here and reversing with 3 waves, or coming down, popping up here, and then coming down for 3 waves. Those are the different ways I'm seeing that wave. I think it's more likely. I don't know. Likely's the wrong word. Likely's the wrong word. But it just seems from a structure standpoint, it makes more sense to me. Can I say it that way? Though the algorithm, I'll be honest with you, the wave structure algorithm has been getting so much harder. So much harder. It's getting a lot harder to interpret. There's no doubt about it. The wave structures in here are very challenging. These wave structures, in light of what's happening, is very challenging. But this wave right here matches this wave, right? But the problem is that it's not proportional. Like it was truncated. It really didn't come down to a target we would expect to hit. It seems likely that we need to come down for 3 more waves and then pop up. That just looks right to me. Boom, boom, boom. Right there. 3 waves. And then we got 3, 3, 3. And there's wave W of a major correction. Lots of liquidity grabbing, lots of going up and down, pumping and dumping in this range to dump, get everybody real scared. Boom. And then we have a correction back. In other words, we do a lot of ranging from here, from 100K to 65K. We spend time in that range, that we don't go straight up from here. That's what I think is most likely where we are. Why do I think that? I think mainly we've come to an area of important resistance, and that the market needs to correct, needs to revisit it, correct again, revisit it, and then correct it. It needs to fail. Okay? But it's going to fail in 3 waves. Okay? And then be followed by, come on, it's going to fail in 3 waves. I love the 20 to 40K range. And then it's going to be followed by Moon Boy time. So that Moon Boy time is coming. Okay? But I don't think it's coming until about 3 or 4 years from now. Timing is always an issue. I can't always predict the time, how things go and why things go. I can't predict. I'm just reading comments here. Reading your comments there. I hear you, Mike. Ike. I don't. Chemo does GAN, has studied GAN. I just haven't spent a lot of time messing with GAN much. So, all right, well, guys, I wanted to keep this live shorter tonight. That's my main analysis here. That's the best I've got for you. I'm probably inclined to a dump tonight after this pump. Whenever this pump finds its culmination, I would not be surprised to see a dumping move. As long as this price stays in this range. If price keeps going, then watch out. But I wouldn't be surprised to see this flag out and then fall over tonight and come down and hit these lows. That would be a semi-bearish look, which that would be fine. That would be a good first wave. Get a 3-wave move and then 3 more down to the 68K range. So that would be kind of the way I would see this wave developing. And I think that's a likely move. That would be my first. That'd be the first thing I'd be watching for. Okay, I think the volume may be telling that story as well. But we'll have to see, because we need to see more volume coming in here to the downside. So watch out for that. Otherwise, if this thing pulls back on the 30-minute to the hourly chart here, you get a 3-wave. Look to take a long, see if it'll play for you. I don't know if it's going to play, but it could. It could. But my primary guess is that this is just a trashy move that's getting ready to come down and take out this liquidity here, and then probably play around in this range for a week or so before it really dumps at the end of May, or the beginning of May, I should say. And once it's finished, so the beginning of May is when we're going to see this wave come down here, and then it's going to probably rally back up to the 102K range later. So this is the way I would draw it up if I were the market maker, and this is the way I see things. Okay. All right, guys. With that said, we're going to call it an evening. I'm going to try to do a couple midweek videos this week. Just see how things are progressing. So see if you get this dump tonight, or this dump between tonight and tomorrow. I think it's real possible. So, but I don't know how likely, and I don't know how certain that is to play, but I think it's a possible move. But if I'm wrong, which I have been in the past, what I think may not happen, and this could continue pumping to the upside. It could be a big move to the upside. So let's see how she plays, guys. With that said, I got to cut it short tonight. Sorry to cut Sunday night chart short tonight, but I hope you guys have a happy rest of your Easter. He is risen. He is risen indeed, guys. So with that said, we'll see you guys later. Have a good night. Take it easy.